Hello everybody, welcome to 2021 in the European 1 tier at Contest of Speed. We have 3 races to finalise what has been a fantastic Season 6 here, and we have a beautiful street circuit to go along with it. And to go along with that, we welcome back Sir Jack Prentice.
Yes, great to be back, Libby. Thank you for the introduction as well. And a unique track, I think it's fair to say. It's you have almost 1.8 miles of a final sector that consists almost a total acceleration, and that's unusual for a street track anyway. And then you have combined that really with, past the third turn, a really tight twisty section that goes around the historic old town. And really, at one point, goes to 1 car wide. Very unusual for a modern Formula 1 track, let alone a street track. And now, this is going to be really a test of your concentration. If you're one of those that switches on and is a thinker, you'll do well here.
It is a 26 lap race this evening, taken at 6.003 kilometres. That's a race distance of just over 156 kilometres. It's got 2 DRS zones, of course, as we all know. I'm sure we've all been here before, and it's 20 corners, 11 left, 9 right. It is an anti-clockwise circuit, but don't worry, you've got your right hand turns in there. Contest of Speed paragraph to describe this track: a mixture of wide and open and tight and twisty. The long main straight along the Baku shoreline is a slipstreaming mecca. I can agree with that from previous races I've done, and with cars able to run 3 abreast easily into turn 1. The action looks like IndyCar more than F1. Also, Alp was able to tell me and show me last season's race here on last season's Formula 1, and I'm sure Jack can agree about yesterday night that it can be a bit carnage-cull, if that's even a word.
Yeah, we had a late safety car. Somebody had buried it in the wall at the now infamous castle section, and we had a late safety car which combined, sort of really compressed the field, and that combined with cold tyres and not much time to get the action done made for a very frantic and frenetic final 5 or 6 laps. I can't remember exactly how long it was, but it did drivers that do tend to keep out of trouble, your R-Bars and your Dracer, who's stepping up for Haas tonight, a big favour.
So on board with the Ferrari driver of XCDR. He is a new driver for the final 3 races. We have got a time at the top. It's a 37.2 by Montana, and his teammate crosses the line 37.7, beaten by less than a tenth by Reeser, and Stinson beats him by just less than half a tenth. Expecting 36s potentially, and I was saying that the weather's always dry in Azerbaijan. It's a little bit cloudy. Does seem dry. Haven't been given a weather report. CDR's gone 5th with 37.7, 18 milliseconds behind Vaporizer. Bolin snucks in 2nd place, only half a tenth or 62 milliseconds behind Montana. Times are flying in. 19 drivers. Good turnout for the start of the year.
So CDR caught traffic. He caught the returning Wizard, former EU1 driver, now an EU2 parish, and a man who's not had a lot of racing in the last 2 months. He caught the end of Wizard's lap. Wizard on a 1 minute 40.3, whereas CDR was 2.5 seconds quicker, and that's having caught him in the final sector. So I don't suspect we've seen the most of that Ferrari just yet, certainly not under his stewardship. He's a 4 thousandths behind his teammate Askikome. Askikome had a bit of a tough time last night in EU2. He's reserving, guesting, or if you like, if you're a Speedway fan, you'll know what that means, for Ferrari, replacing their 2 regular drivers, Matrix being one, and Ghosts, I think, having left the league forcibly or otherwise for previously. So all new Ferrari lineup. Certainly interested to see how they do.
A lot of reserves tonight. Here's Ray Snipes. He's the winner of EU3. Jack will correct me if I'm wrong. And he should be either promoted to EU2 or even EU1. Double promotion maybe for this man. We'll see how he can do. 10th at the moment. We've got Nortec on an outlap on the mediums. We'll stay on board with it. Hello Blaze. Hello Spudhead. Merry Christmas to you and everyone else. AM1 won't be dry tonight. What's the weather? I don't know, guys. I don't know what the weather is. But better to not know, I guess. But I'm sure it'll be dry. So Nortec's on an outlap here. Jack, do you want to take us around Azerbaijan? If you're confident.
So, I'm happy to. So we're firing up now. This is it's a weird straight. You're just waiting really. It can always cost you in concentration to hit the brakes about 90 metres, about 70 miles an hour. Need to really focus on the exit before again keeping as wide as possible and avoiding the curb on the inside for turn 2. You then fire it now into this first DRS zone. A little bit of a curb, but not much that a Formula 1 car won't cope with now. Building up past 200 miles an hour into the third corner. You've already done 23 seconds and you're quite far around the lap. Now this gets to the twisty bit now. Maximise the exit of both turn 3 and turn 4 to complete the first sector. A little bit frisky there on the exit for the Renault now. And a case here of just spotting your braking point and careful not to hit the wall. Avoid the curve if you can on the inside too much because that really costs you traction. Firing it now down into what narrows. Road really narrows through here. You have to clip the curb perfectly. Don't get too greedy. And then it's just a case of threading it through and careful not to hit the inside wall. Blind entry for this right-hander, which we're on board with now, before a clumsy left-hander to where Roman Grosjean then fired it off under safety car conditions, you may remember. Flat out, building to about 195 miles an hour for again a really high curb off camber, and you're back now towards the end of the second sector and the other acceleration zone. This corner is pretty crucial here for best traction. If you get that right, you gain 1 or 2 tenths down the straight. Again, you have to be careful to just weave it properly between the barriers. Get that right, stay out of the barriers now, or fire it now. Hand or foot press down to the accelerator and just again waiting for the start finish line to come up and making sure that you hit the DRS at the right time.
Great description.
Medium tyres on a 1 minute 41 flat. Not bad. He'll want to hopefully improve on that. I think it's a case of just getting used to the track now for Nortec because he's got an American race a little bit later on. And that's what the reserve system can do. If you're certainly in an AM tier, is you can effectively, because if we're reserving a tier up or an equal tier, you could get a bit of practice for later, get a bit of information, and it really can help. 1 minute 41 flat won't be troubling anybody at all, apart from Yorno, who has yet to set a lap, and he's currently just finishing his outlap now. And I think it's a case of just trying to build up data, build up speed, and learn where the best lines are for Nortec, because he'll want to do an awful lot better than that if he's to figure anywhere in this particular race.
Definitely a superb track guide, and the lap times on average are longer than other circuits, and that means you should just have enough time for 3 push laps. We've already had 10 minutes of quali, 8 to go, a little bit of a glitch, so they've probably got about 8 minutes 50 to go, and the first batch of laps are in. Mercedes 1.6, McLaren 2.17, Wizard is back in EU1 after a couple of months out. The 2 Alfa Romeos looking good. Fruitful's up there in 5th place. Montana can win the championship tonight. EV outscored Fruitful by 14 points. Chances are it will be going to Singapore, but anything can happen in Azerbaijan.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. Wizard obviously in 17th. It's his first. He's an EU2 driver. It's his first race for ages, and he's gone straight in the deep end into EU1. So fair play to him. Certainly a baptism of fire. Not disgraced himself though at all. Only a tenth really off of cars around him. You can't really argue with that, to be honest. If he finds even half a second, okay, it's not going to put him into the top 10, but it'll certainly put him in the conversation for a sort of lower or sort of higher midfield, sorry. And then from there, you've got a bit of a strategic advantage, especially as the top 10 will all be starting on soft tyres, which wear horrendously. I mean, they'll have probably about a 15 to 20% advantage if you're on fresh to new. Okay.
So here's a Vaporizer in the Mercedes. 1:37.7 his time set. Can he beat that? It's a 37.2. It's half a second, and he goes pole for the moment. Here's Montana to beat his time before by 2 tenths. He goes pole 37 dead, 7.5 quicker than his teammate. Bolling's just started, Stinkson through Castle. Reese is on his way about to start the shoreline. That is a Racing Point wing coming out of a Castle section. I'm not quite sure who's gone through there, and it's actually is it a retirement?
It's
Maybe.
Rage Snipes. Rage Snipes has hit the wall. So Aski Kome hit the wall about 30 seconds ago. I didn't want to interrupt you, but the Ferrari is out. That slowed up Wizard. Wizard didn't know whether Ghosting was on or not. It is. And it's also claimed Rage Snipes 30 seconds later. What's happened likely is that they've hit the wall on the inside and it's put them into the outside wall. Once you hit the wall in the inside, you're a passenger. It's over. Game
By the
over.
way, Fufo's getting a fantastic slipstream all the way up. He might be able to take pole here. He just misses out by 300ths of a second. Got a tow from a Alfa Romeo driver, and I don't know if you've seen, Jack, but the stewards at Contest of Speed have issued a big warning this evening that you are to complete the pit lane entry correctly or you will get a 20-second penalty. The correct procedure for it is to be on the left hand side, and from start to finish have 4 wheels to the left hand side of the white line. There was a GIF that Contest of Speed entered. Any drivers caught not doing that during the race to gain an advantage will take a 20-second penalty. Who else is on a lap? So Asker Kome retired, he's 7th place, he's probably going to drop. Rowan is on a in-lap, that's 9th place. Dresse Baston's in the top 10. And Jono's entering the pits. So that's the second batches of laps, Jack. Everyone's going back into the pits for one more final go. Who's that?
Merton's on a lap in 14th. If you want to follow, he's a 10th and a half. Well, it was shown as a 10th and a half up. He's certainly giving it some. We'll certainly see now whether or not he's really pushing. So, he goes through. No, he's 2 seconds off. So, excuse that. He's another man that's going to make him to the pits. Going to be quite tight there. 4 minutes to go. Should just about make it round, but he'll be in a bit of a panic if his team don't hurry him up. And
if there's a traffic jam. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I like my...
Amo's just about to cross the line in 17th. He's getting a slipstream off his teammate. He's 7 tenths up at the moment. That's before the slipstream. I think this will put him certainly in the conversation for 13th, possibly 12th if he gets this right. He does go 12th. He found 2 tenths in the final sector. Helped in no small part, I would think, by his teammate. So 12th for Don Amo, who's reserving, having switched to wheel. Switch from EU1 to EU2. He's starting to get quicker. He's starting to get a bit more confident. And that's an excellent lap from the Austrian.
Absolutely. You guys know I like my facts, so here's some facts you may not have known about this circuit. Sergio Perez, Hamilton, Vettel and Bottas, according to this website, all share the record for the most podium finishes. And Bottas in 2016 in a Williams set an unofficial record for our highest ever speed. It's quicker than Vettel's in Italy, Raikkonen's in Italy. 378 kilometers in a Williams. I don't think we can do that anymore. But yeah, it's had some memorable moments. Hopefully we get some tonight. I haven't commentated on Azerbaijan with this league before, so hopefully we get a good one. Donamo's into the pits, I'm sure. Konzo is coming in. Couple of people on outlaps. 2:46 plus a little bit to go for the drivers, and it's time for the final batches of laps in Azerbaijan. And I'm guessing a couple of drivers have been practicing on the time trials to try and get it right. It's a very short rundown from lights out at pole to turn 1. It's 5.5 seconds once the lights go out. It's not long at all, and it'll be interesting to see if everyone makes it out of turn 2 clean and turn 3 down the road.
Yeah, it's an odd start straight. For something that's so long, you've got nearly 2 miles of flat out acceleration from the final real corner just after the third sector beam, and yeah, you've got 90 metres or so from pole to it's not far at all, is it, from pole until you're hitting the brakes for the first corner. It really is.
I think it's up there with Brazil at the start, I think. very short Brazil, probably about the same, maybe even shorter. Literally
Brazil's
5.5
a bit more in
seconds it is.
proportion though, isn't it? Because obviously it's only 2.7 miles. You've got nearly that. You've got 3/4 of that just in the third sector alone here.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? It is crazy, and of course we mentioned we have one of the longest DRSs, disregarding Vietnam. Lots of overtaking to be done this evening, and like the paragraph said, I've seen 4 cars, not 3 cars, 4 cars go wheel to wheel on this racetrack. I've not been told the weather, everybody, so we'll find out when the race comes. 1 to 2 minutes to go in this session. Everyone's just making their way out, and it's crunch time for the drivers. It's time to do the best lap they can to try and get on the grid where they think they deserve.
CDR and Rush, Simply Rush, are the first 2 drivers that are really on a lap for this. I'm just going to take a look now and try and find where Simply Rush is, because I think he's a little bit further around the lap. So he is just out of the first sector. He's 1/4 of a second up already on a 1 minute 38.6. I would expect him to find quite a bit more time. Keeps it through the castle section now. This is the crucial part. You get this right, you get 2 tenths, but you have to make sure that you stop for that blind apex. Fire it now out of the final left-hand corner of that complex, and then you're just on the gas. Make sure you don't turn too hard, because if you do, you can get all crossed up if you've got poor rear grip. So
if he can get a 39.1, Jack, that's quicker than Stinson at the moment. He did a 34.3 in the first sector. Fruitful's just gone purple by 8 milliseconds in sector 1. This is what Tass is good at. Jose Bassen's done a 39.1 middle sector. Where CDR must be coming up to it now. It's going to file through any second now. 39 dead. It's not bad at all. Matching Bolling just, so he might be on for a 4th or 5th here. CDR, the new driver in EU1 this evening.
Rush improved in lap time, did improve in pace. That's a 1 minute 38.4. You won't be very pleased with that at all.
Montana's gone with a 34.136, that's purple first. CDR goes 5th as expected. Askakome is of course dropping because he retired earlier on. Just trying to keep on track with the sector times as much as possible. It's a 34.192 for Fruitful, 34.201 for Vaporizer, and it's a 34.233 for Bolin. All pretty close at the top. Fruitful's done a 42.7, so he's messed up somewhere on that lap, according to Tass. Where's Montana? Looking confident for pole. Vaporizer is coming round the final corner. There's a McLaren to cross next.
Just gone 4th.
Yorno's just gone 4th. Good
Very good lap time from the Flying Dutchman. Had a bit of a frustrating time in EU2 last night. Good performance from the reserve for Alpha
Here's
Tauri.
Montana to try and increase that time. It was a 37 dead. It's a 36.8. Where's his teammate going to go? It's also a 36.8, but it's just behind his teammate. Bolling's 4 tenths up at the moment. This is not looking bad for Bolling. It was a purple second sector for Bolling. It was a 10th quicker than Montana. Could Bolling find himself in P1 at the end of qualifying in Azerbaijan? No, messes up in the final sector somewhere, and it's 19 milliseconds off Vaporizer. Must have made a mistake.
He found about 300s compared to his previous lap, so he improved. He just didn't improve enough. I don't think the track quite came to him, but he's 4th because Risa, unbeknown to us, has just taken pole position.
What?
We weren't expecting that in the Alfa Romeo, but he's put in an absolutely spellbinding lap. 9 thousandths clear of Montana. He's got the high ground now going into the first corner tomorrow. That could be absolutely crucial.
That's an unbelievable second sector by Risa. It's almost 2 tenths quicker than Montana. Risa was slower than Montana, just less than half a tenth first sector. It's nearly a tenth slower in the third sector. That's a mega second sector by Risa. It's a 38.6 in the second sector. That's over a tenth and a half quicker than the championship leader, and that deserves a P1 in qualifying, the first qualifying of 2021. What a lap by the Alfa Romeo.
You have to say that's just class, isn't it? That's top class.
You must get that absolutely perfect.
That would have been millimetrically perfect and a little bit better, to be honest, because to get it, I mean, Montana was no slouch. He would have been very pleased, and he's been absolutely blitzed in that second sector. He would have been pleased with that middle sector. It wasn't a bad middle sector at all. You know, he went round. He was 2/10 faster, broke into the 36s, which we didn't think was going to happen necessarily. 4 drivers have done it. And Reese, he's just pulled that out of the bag, hasn't he?
That's unbelievable. Down in the first and third. Makes it all up against an amazing Montana.
Found 8/10 over the course of the lap. He found 8/10, and he lost actually half a tenth in the final sector.
Well, here's us saying what an incredible lap. That's not only 9. Well, I say only, it's a lot, but it's only 9 milliseconds quicker than Montana. Absolutely sensational. What's it going to mean at the start of the race?
In fourth place, bowling, isn't it? That's just it's very, very close. Very close.
He's got to get a good start from it though, because it means nothing if you can't get away. But he'll be very impressed with that. So it's 900. That's awful. Bolin in fourth place, 42.8 tenths, and then it goes to half a second to Jono, who's done well. Jack, 6th place, good start for the Alpha Tauri driver. In front is Simpson, the new driver, Andres Abassen.
Especially as he's reserving up, Jono will be very pleased with that. Of course, he's no stranger, is he, to EU1, having raced here, you know, in earlier parts of the season. It's a very quick session start, isn't it? Someone's pressed the button quite early. I think it's Bolin who's been a little bit eager to get underway.
Yeah, that's a great lap. I'd love to. We weren't on board with it.
I'd love to have been on board with that.
I'd love to have seen it. Yeah, like you said it before I even noticed it. I was too busy looking at the task, but I didn't see his first sector was down, and I was like, "There's no way. There's just no way he's going to pull it back." His
first sector was, I mean, he found 3/10 there, and you're thinking, okay, well, you know, that's fine. He'll stick him sort of.
Well, he found 3/10, yeah, but it was nowhere near.
He found half a second on himself in that second sector. He just got it absolutely spot on. Right now to the race. We've got obviously probably will be doing that in the race as Bolin claps the wall. Obviously, it doesn't matter on the formation lap. Get no damage anyway.
Yes, we are. I'm just going to plug my laptop charger in so I don't lose a track map. 26 laps this evening, everybody. EU2, EU3 have had their races. I'm sure they've had safety cars and stuff. Or at least one of them has. And tyre choices, of course, softs for the top 10. And everyone below the top 10 gets a free choice. And we see all 3 compounds, medium, hard and soft. But only Simply Rush opting for a soft. Can he make some moves on lights out?
There's 2 ways of going at this. You either do a soft, medium and then soft, medium, medium. So you do your 2-stop there. Or you're doing a 1-stop soft, hard. What you don't want to be doing is a medium hard. I'd be very surprised if people were to try that, because mediums won't last long enough, and certainly the soft goes off like chewing gum, really. Goes off like cheap chewing gum.
I thought it to say that, by the way. I found it funny.
It loses taste, really, loses grip within sort of 4 laps, really, and you want to be coming in and swapping them over. So you'll see drivers pitting quite early, I would suggest.
Yeah.
And like you can see there, you've got Rowan, Konzo, Rowan, Donamo, Bursey, Wizard and Nortec. They're all on hard tyres. And then you've got only Simply, like you say, on softs. I'm surprised that 3 drivers, Konzo, Calzo and Rage. Konzo and Calzo haven't split strategies, which I find slightly odd, to be perfectly honest. But, you know, what we're not banking on is a safety car. The one thing you should bank on the back
yes,
is a safety car.
If anything, get ready for it. The 2-stop could work if that comes in your favour, and we'll see what happens over the course of the next 45 minutes or so. Weather looks good outside. Let's take a moment to remember that Risa was EU4 at the start of the season. And here he is getting pole position in Azerbaijan. Now, what he has to do is take that pole position and try and make something of it. Fight for the race win if he can. Fight for a podium, but I'm sure he won't want to lose those positions too early on. We've seen jump starts in the other divisions. I hope that doesn't happen this evening. 26 laps, 45 minutes. Craziness to come, maybe. We've seen EU1 be clean. Let's see what happens tonight. It's the start of 2021 in EU1. And it's lights out and away we go. It's a fantastic start by Risa, who gets away incredibly well. And the two Mercedes go wheel to wheel into turn one. Vaporizer is putting up a good fight, and he may just be ahead of Montana, but he's on the outside, and Montana slips in. Through turn two, Bollins ahead of Fruitful. Stinson's got ahead of Jono, he's lost 2 places. Rowan's at 1, Dressage dropped 2. Asker Kome got a glitch start, but Risa is ahead, and we do have a safety car at the start of this race.
Okay, so Asker Kome showing is leading. That's because he left the session. He disconnected. Can't see what's happened. I can see there's bits of front wing about, so I'll need to see exactly whose it is. I can see that Simply has lost apart his front wing, so I would suspect that he's one man in strife. Doesn't really change anything, this safety car, unless you're one of the top runners on soft tyres. In which case you might want to come in and either put a fresh set of softs on. Oh dear, Dynamo's just crashed under the safety car. And then you may want to switch to hard tyres, but I don't think hard tyres will be any use at all, really. Dynamo's retired, having spun and then tried to flick it round. He's out already. Looking at it, so Wizards, his front wing's intact, so's the Renault Nautic. I think it is.
What I would do, JP, is I would use TAS. So Dresse Basson has broke his left front wing from 0 to 44, 44 to 95. Yeah. Rowan's got wind damage, severe. Calzo's got severe. Rowan's got both wings done. Player 18, which I believe is the new driver, is 100. Doesn't seem to be any more than that. Looking at TAS, we've got a good view of the damage. We've got everyone on white, and orange and red. Yeah, so there was a safety car. I'm not quite sure when it was called. I was too busy looking at the front. I'm guessing it was called just after turn number 2. But most importantly here, some of the top runners are pitting, and the people who started on the medium and hards are not. So we've got a bit of a flip of a grid here, and this could be very intriguing later on.
So Mercedes have split the strategy. Vaporizer's gone out and carried on, whereas the other drivers have all pitted for medium tyres. They're committing to that 2-stop because those medium tyres won't last longer than about 15 laps. Yeah. So they will have to come in again. Vaporizer, meanwhile, is going to hope to try and make hay on those on those fairly fresh softs, and then pit when this field is a bit more spread out and go to hard tyres and stay out until the end. So drivers that haven't pitted, Asker Kome has pitted, he's second. I'd be amazed if he wasn't asked to come in or anything like that, because effectively he's gained from being disconnected and he's now second, having effectively jumped the start. So they will try to obviously right that wrong. He's gained from that. There will be consequences, I'm sure. But meanwhile, you've got Vaporizer, CDR, Konzo, Burzy, Nortec and Wizard, who have not pitted. Yeah. They are going to be still potentially on the one-stop strategy. You've got Asker Kome, who has pitted. There'll be retribution there. Reese has pitted, he's 6th. Montana's pitted, he's 8th. Bolin's pitted, he's 10th, just behind his teammate Wizard. I suspect there'll be some cooperation there. Fruitful, Yorno, Stinson, Dracer, Rowan, Rage Snipes, Calzo and Simply have all pitted. Now, I don't think Rage Snipes had much in the way of damage. I suspect that was purely tactical, because he might have feared being on medium tyres that he may have been on the wrong strategy. So, a bit of a get-out-of-jail-free card. He's 16th now, and he's got a pit stop on. Plenty of other drivers ahead. So, certainly a lot to play for still.
Yeah, there is. Interesting to see what happens later on with the people who didn't pit, of course, and a slight flip of the grid for people who started out of the bottom 10. Some of them have moved their way now into the top 10. And we got another lap behind Bert Mailander in the safety car, and we've got a safety car on lap 1, turn 2 really, of the start of the 2021 season. Don't forget, next week we have the Singapore Grand Prix 2. Can't wait for that, 2 street circuits in a row. We've already started this one off with a safety car. A lot of damage early on, probably a VSC would have settled it, but we'll take a safety car to calm things down and get going again at the end of this lap. But what an interesting start to 2021, everybody.
Certainly very interesting at the moment. We're just waiting obviously for the debris to be cleared up. I suspect they will be back racing again under green flag conditions at the end of this lap. Everybody's now been caught up. Still got a bit of concerns, obviously, about Aski Kome being where he is.
So what has happened there? So is that a jump start, or
he hasn't jumped? But
so is that him in the car?
He's disconnected. It isn't. He disconnected and then rejoined as the group was forming up. So his car launched away. Now it would have been caught up, but he's joined back and he's carried on driving. Now, he should not have done that.
So is he in his car right now? Yes.
He's going to be in his car right now. Okay. He should not have carried on racing. What he should have done was, once he was back in the car, either pulled over, not necessarily retired, but potentially tried to drop to the back. So he's pitted once. It may have been prudent and wise for him to then pit again, to drop to the back, in the interest of fairness, because I suspect there may well be some repercussions to come back from that. There's only going to be repercussions for the race, which may anger a couple of drivers, but certainly from the steward's perspective, I suspect they may take a dim view. Certainly it's something I will come down quite heavily on, and I would suspect that he may want to use a bit of sense, whether or not that comes in the form of a big penalty as the safety car comes in this lap, or whether that comes in the form of just simply being chucked out of the race, because at the end of the day, he's there where he shouldn't be.
So word from the steward, it'll be investigated after the race, and we've got a long way to go until that race is finished. This will be the start of lap 4, I believe. We've had 3 laps under the safety car, 2 with it, 1 catching it up, and Vaporizer, one of the Mercedes who did a pit, is in charge of a restart, and that restart has already begun very early. Slipstream may occur here. Vaporizer led by Aski Kome and CDR, the new driver, in 3rd place. Konzo is coming quite quick. Lower wings may benefit here, but I don't quite think he's going to get past the Ferrari as we go past the start finish straight. People still trying to warm their tyres up. Nortec and Montana going wheel to wheel. Montana dives down the inside up into 7th place. Bollins going wheel to wheel with Fruitful, and this is a good battle because this could mean something later. Bollin has got ahead of Fruitful, whether he was or wasn't before I'm not sure, but he's now into 9th place, and Stinson's ahead of Wizard.
What was happening there was that Wizard was getting out of the way of Bolin and letting him carry on. Unfortunately, what's happened is that opened the floodgates, has let Fruitful, Stinson and Jorno go through, and now Wizard's back in 13th, but he can still race from there because those hard tyres are still going to go to quite far into the race. He's still in a fairly strong position there. Bolin, meanwhile, is now attacking the Renault of Nortec. He turns in a little bit and it's just barged wide. He carries on and he tags. He tags Bolin there, getting involved in really a battle he shouldn't be getting involved in. The position was lost. He should have accepted it there. He's now, as a result of that, being swallowed up really by Fruitful, and Stinson is going to go side by side. That's never going to end well. I think they just about slot through that castle section. But yeah, what's happened is that Nortec's been swallowed up there as a result of that, and he's now going to get beaten, I would say, quite badly by Stinson, Jorno and Rowan as the faster guys come through.
So Jorno's going down on the inside into turn 15, that is. Rowan's now trying to get past his teammate. Bolling's got past Bursey, Montana got past Bursey just before Castle section. Here's Konzo and Risa, and the Alfa Romeo is looking to get past. No DRS until next lap, of course. The Alfa Romeo is going to the left hand side. Should be an easy pass by the time we get past to turn 1. We start lap number 5 of 26, and the Mercedes of Vaporizers in the lead. Konzo stuck behind the Alfa Romeo now, and Burs, he is just behind Bollin as he makes that overtake. Fruitful stuck behind the Alfa Tauri at the moment. Dresse Basson behind Rowan for P12, and Ray Snipes has got past Wizard, who makes contact with the McLaren, and the racing point of the EU3 champion is sent spinning round. Not sure on the damage, but I'm very sure he's last place.
Yeah, the damage to his race is going to be quite heavy, I would suggest. I must admit, I was looking towards the front where I can see Risa has got the move done on Konzo. Looking at it, it's a classic case, though, of two cars going side by side through turn one. The way the corner goes, the wall comes up quite quickly, so that means that there is going to be a bit of a squeeze. As soon as you look at that, I'm sure. Risa now, meanwhile, 1.3 seconds behind Askikome and CDR.
Oh! We were going 3 wide down to turn 7, that is, and somehow Burzy gets out of everyone's way. I think everyone just wanted to storm past him. Stinson, Rowe and Jono make it past. They were going 3 wide to such a tight section.
Calzo spun, and there's damage as well. I think Wizards hit him. Yeah, so Calzo was close to Nortec. He lost the back end. I don't know whether he had help, whether there was contact, but both McLaren of Wizard and Nortec have hit him, and there's damage there as well. So Calzo's fallen to the back. Rage Snipes is now back up from last place, but I would suspect there'll be a couple of drivers coming into the pit lane now. That's Wizard's race pretty much done. Calzo is hampered quite severely, and I think Nortec's race is, well, he's not damaged as such, not that I can see. But it's pretty much game over. He'd stop. We've got
there, Stinson and Rowan going wheel to wheel. I don't think any of them are going to budge into turn 1. Rowan does budge. Montana got past Konzo a couple of seconds before. As for 3 on board, we are with now fight it out. Round to turn 2. Dresse, Basson and Burzy going wheel to wheel, where Dresse Basson gets ahead of Burzy, who's lost quite a few positions in the last couple of laps. The AlphaTauri driver. Gaps are beginning to show towards the back as Rowan looked to make a move on Stinson into turn 3. Didn't attempt it. Donamo's left the session. Apparently he had minus 273-degree tyres on that safety car stint, which is probably why he put it into the wall. I'm guessing that's another glitch as we enter the castle section one more time.
Game doesn't have that many glitches, I don't know what you mean. Konzo's put himself well in the race because obviously with that safety car he didn't have to pit, and he's now on effectively the same strategy as the leaders. Now, we've shown he can have sort of top 5 pace. He's very, very quick in Canada, if my memory serves me well. Now, he's got Bolin behind him on slightly fresher tyres and with a bit more pace around Baku. I'd expect with DRS now open, the McLaren to come past and set off. Well, I'm certainly expecting it now because Konzo's got no rear grip. But certainly I'd expect the McLaren to come past and then set off in hot pursuit of Montana and Risa, who are stuck behind the Ferrari duo of CDR and Askikome. Askikome now starting to get onto the back of Vaporizer in the Mercedes. Vaporizer, who is reportedly quite unimpressed with the Ferrari being where he is. Two drivers pit then, Vaporizer and CDR. They are going to be going on to hard tyres and they won't stop for the remainder of the race.
So Bolin is ahead of Konzo. Update positions when the pit stops have been done. Vaporizer, CDR, the 2 individuals as we carry on board with Jono and Rowan in pursuit of the Alfa Romeo in front. He does have DRS and he's got a little bit of battery to play with. Stinson was on the overtake as early as he left the corner, but Rowan decided to stay behind, I think, at this stage. DRS, of course, down to 1 and 3 that the drivers can use to try and get past if they can. Lot of action early on, exactly what we wanted. Let's see what else is to come.
Okay, so Risa now within a second of Askikome. Askikome now does not have any DRS because he's now the lead car. And he's now got a fiery Dane behind him. Risa, who's really aced this middle sector. You can see he's gained 3/10 just through that little section alone. He's had to lose a little bit as the Concertina effect takes hold. He's got Montana, though, catching at a rate of knots. He's half a second up on Risa this time around. Risa's got to get the move done now. Otherwise, he's going to have Montana, who we know takes no prisoners, right on him.
No, he doesn't. You're absolutely right. So here we go. Let's go on board with Askikome's gearbox and let's see if Risa can get past on this attempt. Will be a big move if he can, to see if he can pull away from a championship leader who will want to win tonight's race. But Risa, superb in qualifying. Can he make a superb overtake here to take the race lead? There's a yellow flag on the final corner, so Racing Point will go to it in a second. Here's Risa to take the race lead off Askikome technically, and now can he pull away from Montana and make something of this?
He didn't use any ERS as well, it's worth saying. That was purely DRS assisted. Now he's going to have to hold on. Yes, it was simply that appeared to have spun coming out of the final corner. Seems to be that he's recovered it well, but he's had to pit now, I would suggest, because those tyres will be rather cooked.
There's Fruitful down the inside of the Red Bull of Konzo into turn 3. Very good move, Konzo. Give him a good amount of room, and pretty sure he knew, as well as I did, that that move was being done by Fruitful, who looks now to close on Bolin. 2.1 second the gap. So Montana's looking to overtake Ascacome as soon as possible. All the top 10 are on either 5 or 7 lap medians. That's just Konzo from the start of the race. And we got the hard tyres for Vaporizer and CDR. The medium runners will have to pit again. Jack's saying they can only do 15 laps of Azerbaijan. A couple of them were on the safety cars, a yellow flag. And I think Stinson is dropping places. And he's had an incident in Castle section on the outward stage. And Stinson has had a problem. He's got no wing at all, and it's a VSC for the Alfa Romeo.
Depending on how long that stays out, he can pit and go to hard tyres and get to the end. So it's not race over, depending on how long this stays out. Sometimes they're really, really long, and sometimes they last within about 30 seconds, and it's all done, wham, bam, and thank you, ma'am. Now...
Yeah.
It's still going at the moment, 10th place. If he can make the pits, I'm not going to say he's going to lose time, of course he is, but it'll be savable because he goes on to hard tyres, he's effectively made that stop, and he's got some kind of undercut now on drivers ahead.
Ascacome and Konzo thinking it's a good idea to pit for hards. Stinson, of course, coming in. That's just to confirm 100% damage on front left and front right. So absolutely battered
Konzo's
for wing.
Makes sense because obviously that's his one stop done. I'm a bit
He's come out in
He's
space as well, Konzo, 11th place, and the VSC has now gone to green racing conditions, so that's gone away. So Jono's 8 tenths behind Rowan. We got Vaporizer 2 tenths from Ascacome, can't quite get past the Ferrari into turn 3. Gaps are starting to show now. Everyone's starting to settle in. All it takes, though, is one mistake, as Stinson has just shown, just a little lapse of concentration or a bit of oversteer, but you don't expect a bit too much power on those rear tyres, and you've got no wing.
So, Stinson coming out in 14th to go to the end of the race. It's not great, but he can still rescue that and maybe rescue a point or so, potentially, depending on what other cars ahead do. Now, Ascacome pitting on hard I find quite strange. It's one thing Konzo doing it because Konzo's going to the end.
Yeah.
And that's his one stop. Ascacome had options, and medium tyres were still going to be good for another few laps before you could then essentially hop onto softs. If you hop onto softs, then you go to the end and be slow towards the end. Even if you put on another set of mediums, you'd had a bit more pace towards the end. So I think that's a bit of an error from the Italian. But we'll see, I might be wrong. He's lost track position now. Speaking of losing track position, I suspect that might befall Risa soon, because Montana is all over him.
So Vaporizer looked like he was just going to stroll past Ascacome, but Ascacome was somehow matching for Mercedes at that point, but Vaporizer does get ahead into 8th place. How far can he get? Montana's closed the gap from out of DRS to into DRS zone, and that's only 3 tenths now, so Reese's going to have to be on his toes. Both got pretty much exactly the same battery. We'll keep an eye on it. The two Ferraris now together, 9th and 10th. I'm sure Ascacome will let his teammate through, and if you just joined us, I've seen the viewers go up. Ascacome had a bit of an incident with the connection, and he was first before the lights even went out. That will be investigated after tonight's race. Risa has a massive tank slapper. I don't know how he controlled that. I'm very surprised the Alfa Romeo driver did not go into a wall, and if my heart's pumping, his has got to be too.
Yeah, I think that scared him a little bit, but he's back going again. He's got similar ERS to Montana, and I suspect if he mashes the ERS now, he may just break DRS, but he's got to be rather quick on it. No, Montana's on it already, so that's that gone. Calzo's retired in the pits, so the yellow flag's there, nothing to worry about at all. That's his race done. It's just not really there at all, is it?
Dazzle Snipes, just so we know how the damage and stuff, we have a telemetry system by a man in the league named T-Bar. We can see everything. We can see tyre data. We can see that Reese's tyres 36% highest, Montana's 38 highest. We can see damage. We can see how much fuel we've got, what they're burning, how much battery we've got. Everything you can think. Their championship position, damage, the weather. We can see everything on this system, and it's a brilliant system indeed. It helps us absolutely massively. When we see incidents like on the lights out, we can quickly look and see who's got the damage and how much. So Stinson's back in 14th. He's about to make a move on Nortec, not gaining too much, but that DRS should just about help get him into P13. We'll nip back to the front because Reese has been struggling on those tyres, and he's got a fast prancing championship leader in Montana trying to overtake him ASAP.
So if Montana's smart here, he'll just stay behind for a little bit, build up ERS.
Well, Bolin's there now.
Bolin's there now, but if you're in a DRS train, you'll be okay. Then the guy that is at the front of that without DRS, it's going to be vulnerable. Now, what does look like is going to happen is Vaporizer is starting to catch the lead. He's taken about half a second out of Reeser on the last lap or so. It's important to monitor that gap. He's catching the cars ahead as well. So he might steal a bit of a march on when these drivers eventually have to come in. Whether they come in for mediums, in which case they'll be a few seconds back, or soft tyres, in which case it's going to be a short, sharp burst at the end.
Montana may have a go here. He's got a pretty good run, and Reese's already going defensive to the left-hand side. This could be the race lead here, and if Montana is going to make a move, it's going to be absolutely close. I don't think he will. He may go down the inside. Here we go, Mercedes Alfa Male go wheel to wheel. Montana pushes himself through, gets his shoulders out. Reese gets a little bit twitchy. Montana is now into the race lead.
I think Montana rather bullied him there. He sold him the dummy, then went down the inside. And then they was absolutely side by side. At that point, it's who's stronger and who wants it more. And in the end, Montana wanted it more, rather bullied him out of the way there. Great racing.
I think if Reese would have stayed on the inside, he might have got away with it. It's all about having the inside to 2 as well before you get to that DRS zone. At this stage, Montana's got the second sector in purple. Reese has got the third. I think Reese has just been struggling to match what he did in the qualifying for that second sector. Of course, he can't do it in these conditions, but that second sector form that he had has just dropped off and allowed Montana to get into the lead. Hopefully, Reese can stay in that DRS detection zone because he's got Bolin behind. He'll be looking to overtake his IFR colleague, but definitely not his colleague here tonight of Bolin into second place. And Giorno's still in DRS of Rowan, and he has been for quite a while. So hopefully we can see him move there. Doesn't seem like the new driver CDI is catching his teammate, Jack. Staying behind.
About 1.5 tenths, Reese, just in that corner alone. So that'll buy him a bit of DRS. They're both using their ERS, and they're both nearly out of ERS. So Montana's got 8%, Reese has got 14, and Bolin's got, well, it's 11 now as it goes down. At this point, you just sort of stay with him and stay in the DRS, and if you can, just stick with him in the middle sector, then you'll be okay. I think Reese has got a bit of a point to prove because it was rather rudely shoved out of the way, wasn't it? All fair racing in my view, and that's kind of what we want to see. CDR on Askikome, yeah, there's the gap stagnated at 3 seconds. Askikome's done a rather better job. Okay, start assisted, but a rather better job than he did last night, where he was certainly off this pace, certainly away from this pace in EU2. And yeah, running along rather nicely in 9th for now. Anyway, obviously we'll await that investigation. It's in a good place though. We should take that out of the equation. He's certainly in a good place at the moment. 1.5 seconds behind Vaporizer, and with no stops to make.
So no blue flagging yet. Wizard and Nortec are the 2 cars at the back. They're just going through turn 19 on the start finish straight. We are on lap 13 of 26. After this lap, we'll be halfway through this Grand Prix. It's been pretty epic so far. It's had everything that we wanted. We've got the top 3 fighting it out. We've got Fruitful and Rowan, who can definitely get involved if there is a safety car. There is still 19 drivers left. Anything can happen in Baku, that's for sure. We got some penalties in. Vaporizer 3 seconds, Rage snipes 3 seconds. Of course, Rage having that spin, I think it was with Wizard in the McLaren earlier on, sent his racing point facing the wrong way, and he's starting to make his way back up the places.
I think it's turn 15 or 16, the left-hander before the end of the second sector, so the one just before that penultimate real turning
15.
event. Yeah, 15. Reese's a lot more aggressive than Montana. He gains about 1.5 tenths just in that corner alone, and it's really setting him up to keep within that DRS zone, because if you can get a decent exit out of the following corner, the left-hander, you're going to be okay, because you're then going to stay in the slipstream and press a bit of your battery.
Yeah.
And you'll be well within DRS, and you'll be able to save a lot more ERS, ready for a late assault. But through turn 15, he's really aggressive, and it's paying dividends. I suspect that's what made the difference from him in his pole lap. It's certainly keeping him in the shout for the race victory tonight.
So Vaporizer gets past Dresse Bassett a few seconds ago. That's 7th place, but a penalty. Dresse will know that. Drivers can of course now see what penalties the 2 drivers in front of them or behind have got. Obviously if you're first or second, you'll see the top 5. So can we sustain that DRS zone with Montana? Can Bolin be in with a chance of getting a good result? Can Fruitful try and push his way 4 seconds behind for a podium opportunity? Montana has to outscore him by 14 points. Not going to happen tonight. I'm sure the championship will go to at least Singapore, and if something happens there, it will then go to Qatar. That's the final circuit of the season, circuit of the Americas. Not my favourite, but every time I commentate on America, something amazing happens. Yeah, I'll explain when we get there what has happened to me in the past on the commentary positions in America. So Risa is 1.001, and he's now struggling with literally 0% battery to keep up with Montana, who might have just put the foot down to try and get ahead.
No, Risa made a mistake. As soon as I mentioned about that 15th corner, that left-hander, he promptly made a mistake. He took too much curb, got himself all out of shape, and lost, the best part of a quarter of a second. And that really, it meant that he couldn't get DRS, and meant he had to burn all of his ERS. Bolin's pitted, meanwhile. He's gone to medium tyres for the next 11 laps. So that means he could very well undercut. If these two decide to stay out, and go for soft tyres towards the end, he could very much steal a march, and the mediums should hang on a lot better than the soft tyres towards the end of the race. So really is now for these two, unless they react, they've got to pick the moment to come in for those soft tyres, because these mediums are not going to make it to the end.
Agree, but don't forget Montana Risa will be behind Vaporizer. All it takes is a VSC after they pit. Vaporizer could pit for, mediums at this point, like you said. And he could be in with a chance of winning this race. It's just the penalty that may hurt him. Jono's just had a bit of a tank slapper, but he's okay. Bolin went for the undercut. I think you just mentioned it, or if you didn't, he has. And he could get ahead of Risa or even Montana potentially.
He's got to clear Aski Kome though. Aski Kome's got a 3-second gap ahead, and I think Bolin's within.
But he will get DRS.
Yeah, he is within DRS, but he's got a lot less ERS. So it all depends on what Aski Kome does, whether he fights or whether Risa does pit.
Montana does
mediums. Montana, I would suggest, then will be on soft tyres.
So here is Bolin then. Well, let's just be careful, because let's see if Bolin gets out of Risa first, because Risa was a second behind Montana, and we'll see how far Bolin gets ahead, just ahead of a Ferrari. Risa's coming out now. It might be wheel to wheel. Risa is just ahead with a lap newer tyres, so it hasn't worked. Yet. Let's find out.
This now down into the third corner, because Rowan's retired in. Oh, he's retired in the bits. No, you're right, it hasn't worked now, because I was just waiting to see whether turn 3 Bolin made his move down the inside. It wasn't quite close enough. Risa was quite aggressive on the ERS, and so that's probably what's won him the day there and kept him ahead of Bolin. Aski Kome now is behind, obviously, Bolin, but crucially ahead of Fruitful. Fruitful is really having a bit more trouble getting through these, I'm not going to say back markers, but races of a different race, races of a different parish. And now he really does need to get through because, of course, he is Montana's main challenger. So he really needs to pull a rabbit out of the proverbial hat.
So the intervals have gone off screen, everybody. We'll just wait for them to refresh. Can't quite see how close everybody are. Luckily, we have a track map, we have a mini map, and we have a full map. So hopefully we can just see. So we can see that Asikomi and Fruitful are going to have a little battle. I'm sure Fruitful is going to get past any moment now. Got some battery to play with too. Mediums versus hard. New mediums for Fruitful. That should take him to the end quite easily. There you go, Fruitful is past. There's another battle at the front, that's Risa and Bolin. Risa stays ahead of the McLaren for the moment. Bolin having a couple of lockups. It's a 41.4, the fastest lap. That may decrease a little bit later on. Is Montana banking on a VSC or a safety car or soft tyres towards the end? But those soft tyres are pretty bad.
I think he might well bank on his teammate, Limmy. Sorry to cut across.
That's
but
okay.
If you think that they are catching Vaporizer now, catching him at a rate of knots, it won't be long before they're stuck behind. Depending on how...
Like in Austria. Was it Austria? Can't remember.
My memory's shot, to be honest.
Well, it was where people were stuck and Montana was just able to get a big gap and then come out and clear that.
Well, in that case, it's a short pit lane anyway, so they won't be holding him up for much, you know... He won't be stationary for very long, he won't have to find that much time. So, because of how short the pit lane is, Vaporizer only needs to play the team game for a little while, and then Montana can ride off into the sunset if they get this right. Montana, though, will have to pit at some point within the next 2 laps for this to work, though, because those medium are going to be absolutely shot. 3 penalties, 3-second penalties, Vaporizer, Snipes and Nortec. Now Nortec can be added to the list in 15th place. Wizard on his debut is 16th, but he might be going for an overtake here. Down to turn 3, Wizard is back in EU1 with contact with Nortec, and Nortec's on the onto the escape road at turn 3, and he's back on track now. McLaren and Renault wheel to wheel. Wizard comes, Nortec comes off second best, and that's Wizard's probably his first overtake back in 2021. Yes, well, he's certainly not showing any signs of ring rust, is he? He's been away for 2 months, and he normally races in EU2, so this is very much a guest appearance, a bit of a data gathering exercise, but he's not treating it that way, is he? Fair play to him, you know, you may as well fight, even if it is for 15th, you may as well be fighting, getting your elbows out, otherwise there's no point being here.
Jesse Basson looks like he wants a fight with Konzo and the Red Bull for P8. And he's got fresh mediums as well, so a good exit, pitted DRS, no battery however. Konzo's got a little bit to use if he wants to. Jesse Basson's not gaining too much, might see a dive bomb here, not a dive bomb.
Bit of contact between Risa and Vaporizer then as they finish the first sector into that tight left-hander.
Dive bomb!
Oh, that's not going to end well.
It might... Oh no! No, he's not ending well whatsoever! And Risa...
He certainly reset the track too, but
he reset. Oh no! And to be fair, if Risa's steering lock was fully to the right, it might have been okay. Maybe Vaporizer touched him at the worst possible place to spin his Alpha round. And luckily, Ghosting was on. I don't see it on for many other leagues, but that could have caused a bit of a mess. Did he get damage from it? Yes, he did. And Risa, the pole sitter, I mean, I think personally the move was absolutely on. Why not? Just a very unlucky.
The move was on, but he ought to have left more space. I don't see what Vaporizer is meant to do, because he can't disappear into the wall. And Risa, to my view, either clipped the curb too hard, didn't leave enough space, and I think that is down to the Alfa Romeo driver. I'm sorry to say. Vaporizer stayed where he was, you know, was entitled to stay where he was. You can go side by side to a certain degree, as long as you both leave maximum space, and I don't think maximum space was left.
It's racing, it's unfortunate. I'm not going to add my opinion, because I need to see it again. We're not really here for subjective stuff in terms of that. It's unfortunate. I think it was definitely on. I just think Risa could have done just a tiny bit more just to keep it safe. definitely viable. We saw one on lap 6, I think it was, with 3 cars going wheel to wheel. They came out all okay.
Done. Yeah, it can be done. Reese is now limping on with a missing almost the entirety of the left half of that front wing, so that's going to be really hamstrung. He's going to be really struggling now. He's got Aski Kome ahead. Aski Kome, he's got a bit of an asterisk next to his name, and he's got CDR behind now, and CDR on debut. They're staying out of trouble at the moment, touch wood. Is going to be on for at least 5th place, depending on what the outcome is to his teammate. Reese has hit the wall again. That's another part of his front wing gone. He won't be able to turn now through that flat out section, and he's going to have to pit again. So, really not gone well for the Dane in the last lap or so.
The 2 championship leaders, 1st and 2nd, and unfortunately for Fruitful,
Montana's pitted is 3rd on soft tyres. Just look at this, don't need to cut across.
This might be a double overtake, yeah. Could be. Fruitful's left a ball in. Montana's double left a ball in. 3 wide into turn 1, and they all touch, but they all get out just safe enough. Montana's done an epic double move, and that right there, well, it was coming. It was going to come with the soft tyres, but it came in style.
Now he's got to go. He's got to break away, because if he's still only half a second ahead, by the end of the 25th lap, he's going to be in big trouble now from Fruitful. Fruitful's tyres are going to last. Those soft tyres are going to wear. They're going to wear very quickly, so he's got to get the jump now. Bowling, unfortunate, but when you're on the outside, you're going to get beaten up there. So not much that he could do. He's now going to stick in for 3rd place and maybe pick up a few pieces a bit later on.
And we saw that with Reset and Montana earlier in the race. Outside does not win. Other tracks, yes. I've never ever, not many times, seen the outside into turn 1 work if you're trying to defend a place. So Montana's pulled 1.7, Bolin's half a second. CDR, the new driver by the way, who pitted on lap 8 for those hards.
Hit the wall and has damaged his front wing quite badly.
And now
Bolin's
ahead.
Front wing, Bolin's ahead, but Fruitful's hit the wall quite badly.
Oh dear.
I reckon he'll have to pit now, put softs on and see if he can
well, that's a big problem, because if he pits now, that's going to be 9th place. Montana could win the championship. Montana could win the championship. He has to outscore Fruitful by 14 points. So if he's going to win with fastest lap, which he's going to do, that means Fruitful would need 12, wouldn't it?
The Fruitful's going to gamely carry on. I don't know how wise that is, because that understeer is just going to get worse and worse and worse.
It's a turning track, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you need the front end to grip. You don't want too much, but you need the front end to grip. Otherwise, you're going to be in no man's land in that second sector especially.
He's got...
hanging on, though, at the moment.
He's got 4.8 to Aski Kome, 5.3 to CDR, and then another 8.3. Although Jono's on new tyres, so we'll be gaining a little bit. Jono's had some good pace this evening, qualified in 6th, is now 6th. Position changes on screen. A large proportion of the top 9 have gained places in tonight's race. Look how many places have been made and lost. Lots of overtakes, lots of action tonight. There's still 6 laps, including this one, to go. Good decision from Fruitful, because I really believe that Fruitful would have to have finished, what's that, 25, 12, 7th to keep it going to Singapore.
It's a short pit.
Oh, Aski Kome, wind damage, Jack, on the wall of that famous turn 15 you were mentioning. Oh, he's also brake checked his teammate, and now the new driver's Aski Kome. What is going on? If you're going to let your teammate past, let him past easier than that.
That was an absolute mess.
That's a Vettel Leclerc in Brazil. I'm sure CDR's going to get past, but he's going to have to do 5 laps with Jono on fresh mediums with a bit of damage on his wing.
I don't know what Aski Kome is planning out. Okay, you're going to brake a bit earlier, but he braked very early.
Just let him pass on the straight.
And you can't take that risk with your teammate.
He's drove a great race, by the way, this new guy, CDR.
Yeah, CDR's driven really, really well. I've been really impressed with him. He's quietly gone about his business and has hauled himself up. He's been threatening that move for some time. I really don't know what.
Well, look at that, Jack. Jono's caught 1.2 in 4 corners. I know one of the corners is 2 kilometres. I mean, seriously. I mean, all Askikome can do now to even get back to being friends with his teammate is help him defend from Jono, because Jono's still on for 4th place here. 5 laps to go. He's caught 2 seconds in not even 3/4 of a lap.
Yeah, I don't think the debrief at Maranello is going to be great, is it? Because
well, Blaze has just put Ferrari master plan in the chat. That's exactly what it wasn't.
Yeah, it just seems to me that it just didn't think. You know, we've all had instances and incidents with our teammates, but you just think and just try not to take the risk. Anybody else, I can understand why he's taking the risk. It's the other driver's prerogative, but with your teammate behind, you have to be so careful to try and avoid those incidents. Because now, like you say, Jorno's catching them, well, finger over fist, never mind hand over fist, and he's probably going to romp home to 4th place now. I mean, look at romping home. Montana is now 5 seconds clear.
He is, but forget that for a second. Jono's gone from 7 seconds behind to 4 seconds in 1 1/4 lap. Jono's on for a potential P4 here in Azerbaijan, and Jono will know what I mean. We don't see him in P4, and as Matti Robo has said in the chat, the Alfa Males have had a stinker, and this has allowed people, i.e. Jono, i.e. CDI, if he didn't have that, well, it wasn't really his fault, incident, which is going to cost him. Those mediums are still absolutely fine. Jack said for another 9 laps even, with only 4 to go. You know,
yeah, they'll be fine. They'll be absolutely fine to the end. The race is going to do really well. Important to note, though, that Risa in 10th has taken the fastest lap. So Montana's not going to win with fastest lap, but he's going to win, barring something absolutely
astronomically weird. Yes.
Yeah, barring something so uncharacteristically unlike Montana, he's going to take the victory. This is also let Fruitful off the hook a bit, because if you think he's limping around with a front wing that's only half working, the 2 Ferraris behind him are limping around now in what was an utter mess with front wings that aren't working, and Jorno now, okay, he's got a fully functioning front wing, but 3 laps isn't going to be enough to catch 10 seconds. It'll certainly be enough to catch the 2 in front, because he's only 1 second now behind Askikome. He's going to have DRS putting something onto the back straight.
So Reese is into 9th. He's got 1.2 to catch Konzo. I'm sure it'll be done on the sauce, but I think that's the best he's going to get, because Konzo's 6 seconds behind Jesse Basson. We're on board with the AlphaTauri of Jono, who's hunting for a P4 after a Ferrari incident has left their quicker driver tonight, CDR, with a damaged wing, and Askikome already had a damaged wing. A lot of controversy surrounding Askikome tonight, including a couple of laps ago when he tried to let his teammate pass in the worst possible location, and CDR wasn't expecting it, couldn't brake in time and got damaged. And Jono's got a big opportunity here on kind of new mediums-ish to try and get past both Ferraris. And I think he might get past and try and do what Risa did to Vaporizer, but Jono's a little bit smarter and stays behind Askikome. He's got 2.5 laps to try and overtake both Ferraris and send the Ferrari master plan into, what's the word? Into tatters, I guess.
You can say master plan or a disaster class, depending on which way you look at things, but yeah, it's been really poor from in terms of team riding, and I think that's going to cost them in the constructors as well, because now we've got not just the constructors for EU1, but you've got constructors across every single championship. So that's what the reserve system is there for. That constructors championship is across every single tier, and we've got a lot of tiers. I'm not going to big McLaren up just because I am one, but McLaren, we do sort of look out for teammates, look out for you know, the other driver quite well. I know Alfa Romeo do it very, very well, and there's reason behind that. Ferrari certainly in EU3, as you all know, rather walks past Askikome into turn 1. Ferrari in EU3, again, very aggressive, except towards their teammates. So, you know, it does work.
So the two Alfa Romeos have made a move each. Reese 8th, Stinson 10th. Not where the Alfa Romeos will want to be in 2021, given their incredible pace at the end of 2020 before the Christmas break. Giorno, whatever you want to call him, is ahead of Asker Kome and now hunting down CDR with only one more lap after this to go. Can he get a 4th place? Driven incredibly well, got the strategy right, has stopped twice. CDR has only stopped once, and you would have thought without that damage he'd have got a very well deserved 4th place. But I'm just going to quickly check, actually, very quickly on the telemetry what that damage is. The percentage is 38% on the right. Asker Kome had 51% on the right. Fruitful's got 25% on the right. Just trying to compare the times a little bit.
Just spotted that Rage Snipes is pitted from 11th. I wonder, bearing in mind he was just on the back of Risa.
Yeah.
A bit surprised he has. I wonder if he'd have known what we know about the circumstances surrounding his partial demise. Whether he'd have stopped or not, because
I don't know,
he was
but
only about 4 or 5 seconds back.
That's turn 7. And what I do know is that Giorno is about to make his move potentially into P4. There's a blockage in Castle. It's on the final lap. It won't matter. Won't be a safety car or anything like that. But there is a blockage. Here's Giorno. He's going to have to make a move here and brake late to get that position he wants. CDR fights it with all that he can. With the lack of downforce he's got, 38% he's losing. And Giorno is ahead. But he's got to survive a DRS push. But I think he got a sensational exit. Maybe not good enough though. Is CDR going to come back with wind damage? Dive bomb not incoming. Stays behind the AlphaTauri. It looked like he was going to make a move. Didn't quite do so. Giorno's in 4th place. Just.
Okay, so the blockage was Rage Snipes and Vaporizer, both of whom had pitted for softs to make the end.
The Vaporizer's just crashed, by the way. Just to interrupt.
Yes, so that was the blockage. Rage Snipes and Vaporizer have both crashed, and have both crashed because they pitted to try and set the fastest lap, crashed into each other at Castle, and that's why they're both missing front wings. Now, Rage Snipes has pitted once more, whereas Vaporizer's just simply slowing down to a good lap because he can't be able to complete the final lap. Which is going to be completed any minute now by Montana now, as he comes across the start-finish line to take another well-deserved victory and further cement his grip on the World or the European EU1 Contest Speed Drivers Championship. Ahead of Bolin in the McLaren, he's going to take 2nd place. Fruitful, damaged front wing, wounded car to take 3rd place ahead of the reserving NSX Giorno for AlphaTauri. CDR to take 5th place ahead of Dre Sebastian for the Haas, as Asker Kome's crashed on the final lap. Limmy, I don't know if you've seen. Look at him on the track map.
I didn't, but he definitely has, and that might be a little bit of karma if anyone was stuck behind. So the championship goes to Singapore, everybody. I can't wait for that. What a good race. Very quickly, look at the position changes. I mean, there were more than that a little bit earlier on, more towards the end. What a good race. Had a bit of everything, as expected in 2021. It's a Montana Bolin Fruitful podium. Giorno with a fantastic result. Probably, ethically, should have finished 5th. Should have been CDI in that 4th place. But nonetheless, those two performing brilliantly well on a tough circuit with a few incidents as well. Stinson only getting 9th by 56 milliseconds. The Alfa Romeo 7th and 9th in the end. They were both out of the points about 6 laps ago. Not the night the Alphas would have wanted. Risa, the quickest man in quali by 9 milliseconds, tried an overtake on Vaporizer, didn't come off, and that ruined his chances of a potential victory, or at least a top 2, but managed to recover a little bit in the end. But there is no doubt that Azerbaijan was good to us again. That's Montana, 19 race starts out of 20 this season, 12 wins, 13 podiums. It is crazy. The only other people to get wins: Fruitful 3, Bolin 3, Vaporizer and Risa. Pretty sure that Risa win was Monaco as well. I might be wrong.
He was reserving up. I think it was on debut, and certainly, yes, it was Monaco. Today doesn't go down as a win or anything else, to be perfectly honest, for him. I think he might look back with a bit of regret on that move, and just quite how it happened. Right, we've got our 3 podium dwellers in the party, ready to be grilled by myself and by you. We'll bring a couple of lighter questions as well. We're going to start with the 3rd place driver. That is IFR Fruitful. Fruitful, okay, you've lost ground to Montana, but after hitting the wall late on, that could have been a lot worse, couldn't it, Fruitful?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I'm surprised with the pace I had. I had no practice and like 2.5 weeks of no racing, so I was just surprised with the pace, and then I got damaged in the end, which was purely lack of practice and just no feeling to push. So now I'm actually quite happy with the result in the end.
Okay, were you aware that the Ferraris had contrived to crash into each other behind you? Because that did help out a lot. Were you surprised then, obviously looking at the gaps, as you can see, that you weren't losing any time to them behind until Yorno caught the pair of them? Were you aware of what had happened?
Yeah, I was aware of what happened, but I don't know if they could have catched me, because the pace difference was quite significant when I was on the mediums without damage, so it would have been close, but I think I would have been safe for the podium.
Fruitful, well done, sir. Nice to see you in the party again. 2021. What was the... So we obviously know the percentage of your damage. You don't, but it was 25%. What makes you make a decision whether to come into the pits or carry on? What was your thinking process? Because there were definitely a few laps to go, weren't there?
Yeah, well, it was either P8 or P3. It was just trying to hold on to P3, that's all. I didn't cross my mind to go into the pit, so just go on and go for P3.
Good stuff. Overall, how was the race and qualifying, buddy, from your perspective and for the 30 people watching?
Well, I beat my personal best by 5/10, so my qualifying was amazing. And the race pace was surprising. Like I said, it was surprising that I had pace. So no, I'm overall really happy with it, what I've done.
Well done, Fruitful. That's basically, if anything, 100% solidifying your P2 in the championship. So well done, and we'll see you in Singapore.
Okay, we're going to move on to IFR Bowling now. Bowling, it looked like you didn't really have the pace to win, but you must be delighted with 2nd place after what seemed to be, at one stage, quite a tough evening for you.
Yeah. Montana and Risa were too quick for me, but I didn't have the pace in the race. My qualifying, I was not happy with that. In practice, I did a 0.6, but yeah, it's the best result I could get, I think so. I had no pay for the win.
Good solid points for the constructor as well, and I think it's worth pointing that out that, you know, obviously it's over 6 tiers, the team's championship, so there's that as a positive. Do you think your race was a bit of an advert for staying out of trouble, bearing in mind what happened to Vaporizer and what happened to Risa ahead of you?
Yeah, I saw it in front of me. I was a bit of shock, so... At first our plan was we going with 3 cars, and we saw Montana goes on the soft, so with 3 cars in front of him it's pretty, not pretty difficult, but it's not that easy to overtake. But then Risa was crashed out, so that was, unfortunately then Montana was pretty easy to overtake us both.
So what? Talk about that incident. Obviously, you weren't, you weren't involved, but you were right behind it. Talk about the incident really that gave you that 2nd place from your perspective.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to overtake there on that type of circuit, but Risa overtake Vaporizer. Then I think there was not enough room given to each other from both sides, and yeah, they collided and going into the wall. I think Vaporizer would got better to lift off, so that Risa, he was on the better tire, so why you go fighting each other? That's my perspective.
thank you for your perspective. And another thing, there was a moment in the race that you attempted an undercut on Risa by pitting a lap earlier, and it didn't come off. Were you surprised by that?
Yeah, I already know it, because I was going out of the pit and I forgot to put the how can I say it,
Pit limiter?
the pit limit. I was forgetting it.
Oh.
So yeah, I thought, why am I going so slow? Oh shit! So I was maybe a second or something.
That's brilliant. Oh, it's so funny.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah, well, that's going on the end of season montage. What an interview answer that is. I forgot the pit limiter. So that's why. So it would have worked if you didn't forget.
Yeah. I was going ahead of him.
We were very surprised. But there we go. There's the answer.
Yeah,
So Bolin, fourth. What was that?
Just stupid mistake.
It happens. So fourth in quality, second in the race, only 6 seconds behind Montana. You happy with your performance this week?
Yeah, for sure. It's not my best track. I don't like it at all. So.
Why not? What about it?
Yeah, it's just the narrow second sector. I don't like it. I don't like the flow of the track.
And what about Singapore next week, sir?
It's better, but not. I don't like that street circuit feeling.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
No problem. Well, thank you so much. Well done on your P2, sir, and it's a good start to 2021 for Bolin.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Okay, Montana now, race winner. I think that's 12 wins this season out of the races that you've contested. You must be delighted with that. Obviously, it strengthens your grip on the championship now. I think it's only a matter of time, isn't it? Just talk about the race from your perspective.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I don't know. Two opinions. Like, I was a bit, not embarrassed, but disappointed after quali because I could do a 0.3, 0.4 easily in practice, but I just didn't put it together for some reason. So obviously that hindered my chance of getting away, but the safety car did the job for me, so I was absolutely not sure what to do, and I didn't have two mediums because I planned to do a two-stop anyways. So I had to stretch the first stint longer than the tires wanted to, but it was fine. And then obviously I had a bit of luck that there was an incident behind, but I think it didn't really matter because the pace and soft was really good anyways. So yeah, then obviously I had to go for the double overtake. It might have not been the cleanest one of my life, but I think they'll forgive me for that. The opportunity to take two IFR guys in one corner was just too tempting. And yeah, I tried the fastest lap, but invalidated, unfortunately. So yeah, pretty much a race summed up.
I think if that was in touring cars, I think you'd be lauded as a legend. It was a firm but fair move, and you got a couple of those done on Risa as well. Risa might have out-qualified you, but were you always confident that you'd have the race pace over him?
Yes, yeah. I wasn't sure if I could pull out the DRS window from him, but that somehow worked with squeezing my battery to death. But yeah, I was quite confident because of practice and because it's pretty much my absolute favorite track.
Montana, well done. Knew you were strong. Saw the time trials time. You're top of my friends. Not that I have many racing friends, but I have a few who are alright. Whether you could do a 0.2 or 0.3 or not, it didn't matter. You had a thorn in your side tonight. Risa was put in a stonking second sector. He was ahead at lights out and kept you behind for a little bit. So you were challenged tonight, and you overcame it. So well done for that. Your favourite track, you said. What is it about Azerbaijan that you either like or you're good at than other tracks, should I say? That wasn't really English, but you know what I mean.
Better than mine. Probably, I don't know. So it just appear to be good at 90-degree corners. I don't know. They just feel right.
A right angle. Yeah,
okay. I don't know, and the precision is quite nice. Like having to drive tactical, braking early, getting the exits. That's pretty much that, and it looks beautiful.
Yeah, and you mentioned that NSX IFR battle. They're starting to get closer to you, aren't they? Are you enjoying it a little bit more now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really enjoying it. Always having some good banter in the parties with the NSX boys. Obviously, the IFR guys in the sandwich today, so probably make it a topping next week. So we'll see.
Nice. Championship goes to Singapore, Montana. There's not much for you left to do. I do see you winning the championship in Singapore.
Don't jinx it.
I won't jinx it, but what are your feelings towards Singapore? Because it is another very tricky street circuit. We're probably in for a very long timed race, 31 laps. Can take above 50 minutes quite easily. Are you expecting it to be a long mental challenge, or are you looking to enjoy it all the way through?
I quite like it. In general, street tracks I like. I think the pace is really good there. Strategy might be interesting. I might go a bit aggressive, just for the fun. But you can get fucked by the safety car at any point there, so it's a bit random. With the tire wear on the first in, so yeah, just probably, I don't know, a bit of luck involved, but gonna give it all, and let's see that I score some points.
And if you do win the championship, I request that in Cotter, you start from the back and see if you can win. How about that?
Yeah, deal.
Good man. Thank you for turning up for the interview. And let's see if you can win that championship. It's been a very long season next week in Singapore. Well done. Jack, come on then. Summary. Wasn't bad, was it?
Oh, well, it certainly kept us busy, didn't it? As Baku always does. It's one of those tracks that's high speed, and yet the walls are always lining the edges of the circuit, and that breeds mistakes. We've seen a plenty tonight, even from the creme de la creme. I think the cream rose to the top, though. I think the top three drivers have been, by and large, the best three throughout the remainder of the season. I expect that to continue over the next couple of races. I think we're in for a few twists and turns in Singapore. It always throws up an unexpected result. It always certainly throws up drama, despite the fact it's difficult to overtake. And I'm expecting a lot of fun next week, certainly.
I know a lot of the viewers and some of the drivers, not particularly in EU1, but other divisions, are now in national lockdown. Thank you so much for watching. Good viewership tonight. Welcome back to 2021. EU1 is kicked off with a bang. Join us for another bang, where we might crown a champion in Singapore in a week's time. Stay safe. An American race tonight, I believe, or definitely EU4 tomorrow. Good night.
Good night.